Hi! Welcome to How to Cover. I'm Mandaraka and I've been producing, sharing and editing K-pop covers since 2011. So, welcome to the second episode of the series. Yay! Today's main topic is about how to choose a song for your level of skill versus the level of difficulty of that song's choreo, and whether or not you should follow your bias on that dance. We are going to break it down into topics, and we're gonna start with personal skill level versus the choreo's difficulty, if learning through your bias is the best idea, how to mix members if you are a soloist, and how to pick members if you are in a group, and finally choosing a song. All of these will be coupled with real-life examples so you can have a better view of the whole thing. You might be wondering what is the difference between all of these things and if there is any difference at all between them. In all of these years I've been doing K-pop covers, I've come to the realization that a lot of people, including myself, don't know how to choose a song that fits them. Don't get me wrong, you're totally free to choose whatever song you like for your next cover. It is also important that you leave your comfort zone in order to try new things, but there are some aspects that you should consider when making your next song choice. Just like last time, you will have to ask yourself some really important questions. But before I even tell you these questions, you have to promise me to be 100% honest with yourself. Not in a depreciative way, you just gotta be really realistic on your own skill perception. This video is specific for dance covers, but I think there are some parts of it that you can also take for vocal cover. Question number 1. What is your level of skill? Are you a professional? Are you a complete newbie in the whole dancing scene? Did you learn some stuff by yourself? Did you have any classes? Question number 2. Let's say that you're a newbie and you really like Super M's songs chopping, but you never danced before in your life, or never followed a tutorial or had any kind of dance classes. It's honestly impossible without some good basis first and a lot of hard work. And that won't be done in a week, but rather in a month or maybe 2. For these 2 questions, there is one common mistake that every coverist has made, including myself. And you will end up doing it too, and there is absolutely no shame about it. I see this both in solos, also in groups and duos. They always want or aim to follow their bias rather than choosing a member of that group that fits them. But now you ask, why is that a mistake? And I'm going to answer to that with some real-life examples on why, in my opinion, this is a big mistake when picking which member you're gonna follow in your cover. But I'm gonna sum it up already. It will end up influencing your whole cover. The first story is, there was this group that wanted to cover EXO's Love Shot, and one of the members wanted to take Kai's part. For context, Kai is one of the most trained and skilled dancers in the K-pop industry, and he was trained in jazz, ballet and hip-hop. Now, the member of this group that wanted to take this part, although an average dancer, never had any kind of dance classes, no basis, everything was self-taught. There's no wrong in that, but it can lead to some really bad dance habits. Their skills didn't reach a level where their body was comfortable copying Kai's movements, and that was visually awkward with the whole dance. Technique is a big part of dance. You can have the creativity, you can have the flexibility, you can feel that vibe, but if you don't have some sort of technique, it will show, especially in dances that are more technique specific, like for example Sugi and Irene's Naughty song. Of course someone would end up taking Kai's part since it's one of the main ones in Love Shot, but the person chosen to do that part shouldn't be chosen out of bias preference, but rather of level of skill, since in this particular case it would be very noticeable. If the song chosen had a choreo more centered in position changes like VIXX, VIX, Great You, or most of VIX songs actually, it might not have been that noticeable because usually their moves are more simple and the focus is on getting from A to B. The second story is directly from yours truly, and it goes way back to 2010 when I first discovered K-pop. My first and favorite song was SHINee's Lucifer, but my unexperienced 15-year-old self thought she had the skills to pull that dance off. Not to mention that at the time it was one of the most difficult choreos in the whole K-pop industry. I knew every move, but I looked like a jellyfish caught in a wave. Why did I look like that? Because my skills weren't at that level or even close to it. Today, 10 years later, at the age of 25, almost 26, I can humbly say that I can pull that dance off because I evolved a lot and learned a lot of precious dance skills, not only through online tutorials but also through dance classes. Fun fact is, I still haven't done a full cover of that song, but I did a small one that you can watch here. Nowadays, I would love to cover Super M's Jumping, but I know for a fact that I couldn't pull that one off. Not only because my skill level doesn't even come close to it, but also because I know for a fact that I wouldn't deliver the quality that I want to deliver. Add to that I'm really rusty, and for the last 2 years I've been on and off sick. I broke 2 ribs, and mental health gets in the way all the time. Please take care of yourself. But in conclusion, be very, very, very honest with your skill level, and with that in mind, be humble about your members' choice when choosing who to follow on a song. Don't aim too high because of likes, views, popularity, etc. There's absolutely no joy on those numbers, believe me. If you are in a group, this is how you can break it down. You should watch the practice the same amount of times as there are members in the group that you're watching. NCT fans, I'm so sorry. +2. Here is the formula. Watch it all at first for a general view, then watch it again once per member, then another one in general. Let's put this in an example. Imagine you choose Red Velvet's Bad Boy. In this case, the formula is 5 + 2, meaning you watch it 5 times, and in those 5 times, you focus on different members. The 6th and 7th time, it's just looking to all of them at once. Let's say your bias is Wendy, but after watching the whole thing, you realize Irene's part would suit you much better. Not only with your vibe, but also with your skills and other things that I'm about to talk about. But your groupmate, Ken, has Irene for a bias, but he matches better with Joy's part of the song. What you're gonna do from here is really easy. You should all sit down and talk. Get someone to write on a piece of paper or on the phone who gets who in the song, so that you can keep track. Don't end the talk without everyone being happy with the member they have to do. There are a couple things you have to have in mind in this process. One big thing that can influence a member's choice is the existence of previous injuries. I know a ton of coverists that have severe knee problems, some who even had surgery for that, and that plays a big role on when they try to choose a member. If your group member says, I can't do that part because of for example, my knee, be respectful and think the whole thing through. There is also the fact that some dances have some acrobatics where one element picks up another, like for example Bang Young-guk and Zillow in BAP's Catch Me. If you are a solo coverist, it's a bit different. You have to watch the practice like 3 to 4 times, but you are not going to follow just one member. You have to focus where the main action is happening, because you are gonna have to mix members, and that takes a bit of practice. This doesn't mean that you should do all center parts, because while an idol is standing at the center, he's just singing most of the time, and that may turn out boring when you're doing the whole thing solo. There is an example with my Onana cover from Card, but before we get to that, I gotta tell you that I learned that song to dance with my group, and I was BM.
The music starts and I'm following Sumin because she's right at the front, but once she moves to the side, I'm following all three of them, but mainly Jiwoo, since Sumin is not doing much. They move along, and when it reaches the no-no part, I switch to BM so that when the rap comes, I'm already doing his part. I keep being BM because some parts are not comfortable for me, and because in others they're all doing the same, so there's no point in changing. When the chorus ends, I'm following Jiwoo, and before her part, I'm J-Sef. When J-Sef part actually comes, I switch between him, Sumin, and BM. The dance break is in, and I'm BM again because of the twerking part once more. At the last chorus, I'm finally doing Sumin again until the very last part where I switch again to BM.
This was probably the easiest example of all, but if you need help with your cover, let me know, I'll gladly help. Now, do you really like that song? Like, really like that song? Because when you're practicing a song, you are gonna have to listen to it over and over and over and over and over. And that's not cool, especially if it's your favorite song. Do you vibe with the song that you chose? Do you understand the feeling and concept of that song? For a cover to be uniquely yours, you have to put some feeling into it. In the best possible way, you have to identify with it. Make it have something of yourself, not just covering because it's covering. For Pete's sake, don't cover just because it's trendy. That's so toxic. I consider it incredibly toxic to cover a song that came out 5 minutes ago and there's only the MV and the idols are still on their way to the showcase. That's a topic for another video later on the series, where I'm aiming to have a discussion with you all about it and why I think it's really toxic. And that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it made some sense. If it didn't, please write me. I'm always available to answer to your questions. I'm sorry if it was somehow confusing. It was honestly hard to structure the whole video, but I hope it gave you some insight on how to improve your covers, starting by choosing the right song and choosing the right member to follow. You can follow me on Instagram. Drop a comment here, I'll answer as soon as I'm awake. Don't get used to this sentence, but I'll see you in the video next week. And until then, keep on shining and stay safe, wear a mask. Bye!